we are going to talk about portfolio. And the reason is very simple, because I received a request from a young designer, so somebody that already is out of school, okay, with his own professional portfolio, that asked me a very nice question. Young, ciao, thank you for the guitar. Yeah, this is a very new intro. 9:30 in India, okay. 9:30, so 9:30 I think it's fine in India this time. If you think this should start later, just let me know, okay? Because sometimes I think that maybe after this live you guys will go out with your friends or whatever, or with your girlfriends, or your boyfriend if some ladies are there, okay? So let's go back to the main subject. The car design portfolio, it's really hard. It's something that is really hard to put together in order to get a job. And if when you are a student, okay, you have your projects, the teachers that will tell you how to put them together, and maybe my advices, just like other people that will give you advices. When you are a professional, even if you are just a young professional, it is even harder, because when you acquire some experience, of course you get better, and therefore as a young professional that want to try to change company, all right, it becomes probably a little bit more complicated, because there are out there other young professionals that maybe, of course, they might be better than you. Therefore the competition, it's even more difficult, because at the student level it is hard, but when you come to professional level, according to the stage, whether you are young, medium, manager, experienced, it becomes even more complicated. Believe me, more complicated. So this guy sent to me his book and said, "Dear Luciano, please, can you tell me what's going wrong with my portfolio? I have 3 years of experience. I worked in car design and also in industrial design. So I do a lot of different type of projects. I have a very full portfolio of real projects that some of them went to production. Some others will go to production. And every time I'm sending this portfolio to people that are in car design, that should tell me whether this is good or this is bad, they don't tell me what's wrong with my portfolio. They look at the portfolio, they say, I'm sorry, your work is not bad, okay? We will let you know. So it's obvious that after a while, I understand that something is wrong with my portfolio. And by myself, I don't know. I just don't know. So I heard that you say always the truth, and sometimes you are rude in your feedback. Please, I need somebody that has no interest whatsoever in my portfolio, that looks at my portfolio and tells me what is wrong. And that's what I did, like I do every time. So this is a contact on LinkedIn, so we are talking about more professional level, that sends me his portfolio in PDF in the chat. So I open up and I check this portfolio. And the first thing I did, of course, when I open up, I was expecting, you're a professional, therefore I'm expecting something that looks really cool, okay? Because I'm professional, maybe I have more experience, but still. So I'm not expecting something that is scholastic, from school. And then I look at the first page, then at the second page where there were all the information of the backgrounds, sort of a CV, okay, which is good. When I was looking for the portfolio, I was scrolling down, and I start thinking that I was looking at a student portfolio with a lot of information on each slide, and I could not really concentrate myself on the slides that he was presenting in his portfolio. So then I went back, because don't forget, I'm making an analysis here. Okay, I'm looking at somebody's portfolio to give an honest feedback. So I'm going back, and once again I find myself a little bit lost. So I keep on scrolling down to check the other projects, and I find the same problem. Basically, those problems that he had on every slide, they were present on every single slide until the end of the portfolio, which was rich of projects, okay? So projects were not a problem. All right? So when I did this, I gave him feedback, and here are the key points on which you should be concentrated when you are making your portfolio. So the first one is the graphics and the editorial design of your portfolio. This is very important. It's the way you present your portfolio, the care you have for your portfolio, the love and the passion you show through your portfolio. And when you are making a school portfolio or a professional portfolio as young, but also at my age, it is very important that what you prepare has to be very professionally put together. So when you have a portfolio that has a lots of colors, a lots of sketches all together, they are all with the same colors, no focal points, the eyes of the viewer, so the person that is looking at the portfolio, in reality gets lost. He cannot concentrate, or she cannot be concentrated on one sketch, on one rendering, because there are so many informations on the same page that you get lost. So this was the first main problem that this person had on his portfolio. And because this was present on every single slide of all the projects that he was presenting, automatically I was not able to concentrate and remember the design of some of his projects. So the first advice that I give is that when you make the slide or the slides about this type of organization or your portfolio, which is extremely important for you, you have to remember that the message has to be given in a very clear way. And when we mean in a very clear way, it means that you don't have to have on that slide things that might disturb a lot the main subject, which is your car sketch, okay, or your car rendering, with which you will explain the design that you made, with which you will try to give value with the storytelling, explaining and presenting that portfolio, that particular project. So that's the first thing. So when we have sketches all over the place, and then we have 6, 7, 8 of them that are very rendered, okay, with every single highlights, everything all together, basically we are making an operation that is destroying the communication of that slide. It is much easier on a simple slide, on a white background, to see a green apple or a side view sketch, okay, or a nice 3/4 front view with a very light background, okay, because I know what I'm looking at. And I can take my time. My eyes will be used to look at that slide, because my eyes will make, and my brain, the effort in few seconds to look at that design, to look at that illustration, and decide whether I like it or I don't like it. But when I disturb that sketch or that rendering, putting all the other 3/4 views, the back views, top views, pencil sketches, and everything in the background all over, then my eyes and my brain are curious to go and check it out, every single part of the things you have on that slide. And that's the moment when I get lost. And because I'm thinking of a little sketch, maybe it's even better of your rendering, all right? What happens is that basically I forget the main subject. So when you organize your editorial graphics, which means how you make the composition of each slide, you have to think of one single word. Be simple, simplicity. You want to be simple because you want to make sure that the main subject talks by itself, that you don't need to point your finger between thousands of sketches or 50 sketches and say, no, it's not that one, it's the other one. Then you also have to think, when you send a portfolio via email, okay, like it happened to me, and I open up that portfolio and I see all that crowded, slide, and then I scroll down and I see other crowded slides, what happens? I don't get a very good opinion of your portfolio. And there is a very strong chance that I stop watching that portfolio because it becomes sort of irritating a little bit, okay? And because we are people that are working, okay, to look at portfolio is not a job. We can do this in a couple of minutes and say, oh, nice guy or nice girl, this work is really awesome. So I erased your comment of the hamburger. Okay. All right, so that was the number one problem. The number two problem is that every slide, every drawing, every sketch was missing the focal point. Now, we always say that focal point is extremely important because the focal point, it is something that gives a very strong highlight, okay, and so brings attention to the part of your sketch, of your design, that you want to sell the most, because it's the part that probably you like better. You think you did an excellent design. There are some extremely nice detailing. Maybe there is a certain type of surfacing that really makes you proud of what you did. Therefore, we use the highlights, the shading, the dramatic chiaroscuro to make sure that the attention of your eyes goes there. And a few colors and a sketch per slide. Yeah, I think that the portfolio, look, I always said there is another video here, how to make a portfolio, okay, in which there are some sketches that I use to give you a better example, okay, and basically every project, it's made of 3, 4, 5, 6 slides, okay? You should have at most 40, 50 slides, no more than that, in a portfolio. So every project should have 6 slides, maybe 7. So the first part, so the first slide, it's a bunch of sketches. Some black and white, done with pen, pencil, and freehand sketches, okay? Freehand sketches on paper, okay? So you can do that. But then the second slide, in the second slide, you have to look for maybe color sketches, less sketches, okay, fewer sketches, but the main ones, side view, 3/4 front, 3/4 back, tip up, okay? And those ones you can do it with markers, so if you want to work on Photoshop, it's fine, so that we can start having a feeling of that design. And then the last ones will be the color ones, okay, in which I usually say that you can have one slide with a very nice side view, with a nice background, okay? And then you can have another one with a 3/4 front, 3/4 back, okay? You can put them together. And then you can have another one where you have your tip-up perspective, the top view, which is one of the most important view, because we can see the side, the front, the top, almost the whole car. So when you do that in 6 slides, we can go through the whole project. And then, of course, we have the first very slide that will be the mood boards, okay? The mood boards slide. Now, for those that are worried about what it is a mood board, okay? Or what it is the mood boards organization in terms of choosing slides and photos and references and stuff, there is a video that I made that is here. It's another design talk on which it's mood boards. It's called mood boards. So you can go and check it out, and then you can go and check. Okay. All right. So instead, if you on every slide you put of the same project everything together on all the slides, all 6-7 slides, it's like a big traffic jam. You know, you cannot distinguish. You cannot. Your brain will not have the time, you know, to distinguish, okay, for something that has to be simpler, okay. But when I say simpler, it doesn't mean that you don't have to do a background. Not at all. You can have a very nice background. Now I have some students that I follow. We are making experiences and trying to make exercises in adding strong background to their car sketches, okay, their car renderings, so whether it's done in Photoshop or also by hand, okay. And that's something that you have to do, of course, but at the same time make sure that you have the first reading, the second reading, and the third reading. You know, the first reading, it's the subject, so it's your car. The second reading is that focal point that is on your car. And then the third reading will be, of course, the background that will just be a support to push out of the paper the perception of your drawing, of your illustration, okay? I received this portfolio. I was checking at the same time if I could find a sketch or a color sketch or rendering or something that yes, a resume is important. Yes, patriots. In general, the resume or the CV, it's something that is at the beginning. You know, you have your first slide with your name or whatever, or your portfolio, and then the second slide, it's your experiences. Right? School, work, internship, where you're born, you know, where we can find you, all that stuff, you know, a CV. And if you don't know how to make a CV, there is also on my channel how to make a CV, okay? We will talk about that. When I say the 6 slides, you know, you must have, if you have a model, a slide where you have the photos of your models. Of course, that's very important to show that you know how to work on clay, or that you work, for example, on alias, you know, that's extremely important. If you know how, if you had a chance to make a model, if you have a chance to have a milled model out of your alias model, okay, and then maybe you have a spray paint, and so you have a complete model, just like it was for me in school at my time, well, that's great. Make beautiful pictures. And the pictures of a car model must be taken with the same perspective and composition, thinking like when you sketch. So don't make it static, make it very dynamic. And then you, of course, have to add few pictures about some details, because I'm sure that everybody have some important details they want to show, because it's part of your creativity, and therefore those last 2 slides are really for that type of communication. Okay, now let's come back to creativity. It is obvious that we are at work and we know what we are doing in terms of creative real projects, okay? Whether they are made whether they are made for concept cars, okay, show cars, or for production cars projects, okay? And so we already have our drawings, our illustrations, our designers that are working on something that will come out in 6 years, in 10 years, or that are there to show how it could be that brand in 10, 15 years, according to the technology and the message we would like to give, okay? Now, when we have already that scenario in our head, and we receive a portfolio from somebody outside our company, of course we are waiting for something that is creative, very creative, even better than what we do, because, you know, car designers, if we find somebody that has it's a real talent, we want to hire that guy, or that girl, because it's gonna bring something different that can help us to move to a different step in terms of design communication, design creativity in our products. Therefore, every time we see a portfolio, we are very, we are very concentrated on the creative aspect. How are those drawings? Apart the ability of drawing, but do they have very good proportions? So proportions. So do they look good? And besides looking good, are they really creative? Do they have things that we did not think about? And if yes, do we like them? Okay? So when you put all this together, you understand that creativity is the top number one priority of every portfolio. You can have a portfolio that is a little bit so-so in terms of organization, the things we said at the beginning, but if the creativity is not there, or it's basic stuff or stuff that we could see in the road today or tomorrow morning, where is the interest of that portfolio on? Art Center, I know because that's my school. My diploma is back there. Art Center is one of the hardest schools on earth about car design. Then the second one is CCS. And that's the place where I learned, okay? Even though I had difficulties at the very beginning, and in my latest interview at Crown Unfiltered, I don't know if you guys watched it, okay, but if you want to go on Crown Unfiltered channel, you will find my interview, okay, the part 1. Part 2 will be, I think, this weekend or beginning of next week. Anyway, Art Center, it's not that they tell you if you can move on or not. You go, you do all the terms, okay? And you can move on if you have a minimum grade of C plus at my time. I don't know if they still use those letters, but you must have at least C plus. Talks about creativity, but what does that mean in terms of car design? Shawan Yashpal, creativity can be something, of course, creativity, everything we say, beautiful or bad, it's very subjective, okay? But there is one thing that you have to consider, is that every car company has their own design philosophy that is following a very important and complex, sometimes, storytelling that makes that brand stronger with the time. And according to that design philosophy, at least for 10 years, what happens is that you go, you improve with those projects that brand image, okay, in terms of communication, in terms of brand, in terms of products and stuff, okay. Nangdadeep, Paul, if an industrial design student has a good transportation design portfolio, including ergonomics and strong design thinking, would you give him a chance in your company? Yes, of course, yes. There are some designers that come from industrial design and they have a very strong passion about car design. Therefore, they have a mixed portfolio. They have products and they have car designs. In general, those guys are very good, those people. They are very good, okay? But they must be talented. It's always the same thing, If you have the talent and you have that type of knowledge, and plus you know how to use that knowledge in the field of car design because that's your real passion, why not? Why not? And usually those people are really good in making also interiors, because interior design is very complicated. It's a lot of industrial design altogether, Interiors are cars that exteriors are a little bit easier. Interior design is a little bit more complicated to do. And industrial designers have a mindset that for them is probably a little bit simpler to say that they can make an interior easier than somebody that is used to make only exterior designs. Okay? We were at 27. Thank you very much to all of you. Okay? Also to those that disturbed quite a lot today. But be careful because I'm going to block you next time. Okay? Alright, so I think that this is the end. Alright? And after this, I have my friend Vedant waiting for me from India, because we're gonna have a nice sketching class together, whether you believe it or not. Ciao, grazie, bye bye.